Hello and welcome to Intermittent Fasting for the Win. I'm your host, Mike Saunders, and I'm thrilled to be here with you. My co-host is Jalene Weigand, an experienced faster and fitness coach. We'll be interviewing fellow fasters from all walks of life, shining a light on their progress, their struggles, and their victories. We'll get their tips, tricks, and plenty more to help make you a winner with intermittent fasting. Today, I'm interviewing Jalene, and we'll find out how she fasts, why she fasts, and the things that she loves the most about fasting. So stick with us. It's going to be good. Jalene,
Mike,
how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am running within normal and acceptable parameters.
Okay.
Listen,
Acceptable is acceptable.
I want to talk to you today about your fasting and get your story on it. We've done this once already for YouTube, but this is for the podcast.
I
And
love it.
we can kind of make it like a refresher if we want to.
Okay. Yeah,
What,
sounds good to me.
what got you started with intermittent fasting?
Oh gosh, it's a really, really long story, but I'll try to condense it a little bit. In 2021, I just felt terrible. We had just come out of COVID. We were still kind of in a little bit of COVID craziness. And, I'm a preschool teacher. So during COVID, my school had shut down and we went to Zoom, which is insane with preschoolers. Some
Yeah.
funny stories. Um, and I think I just was eating my feelings, trying to pretend like everything was okay. I'm a very social person and I like to be out and about. And it was hard. It was hard to be home. It was hard to not be with my kids in person. And I also was going through menopause, which I didn't realize until after the fact. But I just got to a point where I just needed some help. And the catalyst of me finding IF was there was a picture that was taken at my school for an end of the year car parade. And this was back in 2020. I had seen the picture, but refused to look at it, refused to acknowledge there was a problem at the time. But in November of 2021, I had put on a pair of jeans that had always fit and they no longer fit anymore. I couldn't even get them on. And I decided to look at that picture again and I just looked at it and cried and just knew it was time to get some help. And so I was on Facebook and happened to see there's a local gynecologist in my area who's a little more holistically minded. And she had a podcast at the time and she was interviewing Lori Lewis. I don't know if you know who Lori is, but she's pretty well known now in the IF community.
I've heard that name.
She's she's amazing. So I was listening to her story and she like her story spoke directly to my heart. Like what she had gone through was exactly what I was going through at the time. And she talked about her journey. She talked about Jen Stevens. She talked about Fast Feast Repeat. And that day, I ordered the book. And that day, I started fasting. I didn't understand the clean fast the first day. But once I got the book, I would say within 2 days, I took the cream out of my coffee and started fasting. That was November 2021. And the rest is history, as they say.
For those of us listening to this who have not launched into fasting yet, but they
Mhm.
enjoy coffee, how long did it take for you to get used to no cream or sugar in your coffee?
I want to say it took about 2 weeks. The first couple of weeks, I was pretty grumpy, and I've interviewed with Jen a few times, and I've told her this both times. I was so mad at her. I was like, how in the world does it even make a difference? But it
It does.
does.
It
It
does.
does. And you know how I know it does is when before I found out IF, I was drinking coffee with cream or cream with coffee, probably more like it. I loved a creamy coffee and I would drink it pretty much all morning, but I would be jittery and hangry. Soon as I took the cream out of my coffee, I didn't feel like that. Like I'm still drinking black coffee right now, and I don't know what time is it. Like it's after 1, and I feel great. I feel great. It really, really does make a difference. But it did take me about 2 weeks to not like fuss about it. Now I
Yeah,
love it.
that's about what it took for Vicky, my forever girlfriend, to adjust to it. Uh, as far as your protocol,
Mhm.
what was your protocol to begin with back in 2021, and what was your protocol now?
Okay, back in 2021, I was trying to be really kind and gentle with myself. I had been through a lot and going through menopause. I know a lot of people do rip off the Band-Aid. I
That's normal.
wasn't I wasn't ready for long fasts. I just wanted to like, dip my toes in, make sure that this was going to work for me. So I started with 16/8. And so anybody who doesn't know what that is, I would fast for 16 hours and then I would have an 8-hour eating window. But I that doesn't mean I ate the whole 8 hours. I did. I mean, I'm sure there's been days where I did. But I would open up around like 9 in the morning with a breakfast, and then I wouldn't eat for like another few hours. I ate about 2 full meals for the first, gosh, year. I want to say I wish I would have had an app, but I didn't. I never wrote anything down. I didn't want to make this like another diet for me. Um, I had an eating disorder back in my teens and 20s, and I didn't want to go down that road again. So I just was really gentle with myself and just wanted to nail the clean fast. And I did. So I did that for, I want to say, about a year. And surprisingly, I lost 35 pounds just doing 16/8 for in that year.
Really?
Yeah. I
That's good.
did. I didn't weigh myself in the beginning. I didn't weigh myself probably. I did. I weighed myself the first day and then I didn't for about 6 months. I just kept hearing Jen's voice in my head, like trust the process. And I kept hearing Lori Lewis too, be gentle and kind with yourself. And I knew I was losing weight because my clothes were no longer fitting. They were just too big. So I knew progress was happening, but I didn't want to get addicted to the scale. And then after a year of 16/8, I switched to like about a 19/5 just because I love fasting. I love the way I feel. Occasionally, I'll do a 24-hour fast, maybe a couple times a month. But for the most part, 19/5 is kind of my sweet spot.
That's your jam.
It's my jam. I was actually going to say that.
So let me ask you, carrying this thought process on, how do you deal? I know it's probably not a problem for you now, but in the beginning, how did you deal with hunger issues?
You know, I, because I had such a long window, I really didn't feel very hungry. Um, I had already, back in my 40s, I discovered I had a wheat sensitivity. So I had stopped eating grains, long before menopause and was eating already pretty, not that grains are bad, they're bad for me, but I was eating pretty healthy foods that I knew made me feel good. Um, and I eat a lot of like giant. I'm sure you've seen pictures of my food, giant salads with, really good, healthy, whole grain, not whole grain, whole food carbs like beans and chickpeas and legumes. Food that really fills my body up and makes me feel good. So I really didn't feel hungry too often, but if I did, I would put a little bit of Redmond sea salt in either water or coffee, and that helped kind of sustain me until it was time to eat again.
Okay. That's those that's similar to what a lot of other people do. They'll add that salt to their water or their coffee.
Yeah.
And
Oh, and one more thing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no,
One more strategy that I used was I really took, I've read all of Jen's book, Delay, Don't Deny, really, really resonated with me. And I really took that to heart. So anytime I was really hungry, I would just let myself know you're not denying yourself food, you're just delaying it. And you can eat it when you open up your window. And that really worked really well for me. And sometimes when I opened my window, I realized I didn't even want whatever it was that I had been craving like a few hours before. So it was
okay.
like my mantra, delay, don't deny.
Now you uh Wendy was the one who turned me on to eggs and cabbage to break my fast.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a whole different approach with those eggs. I want you to tell the people about your eggs and
Beans. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah.
So I grew up in Southern California, and we have a lot of influences from Mexico because we're pretty close to the border. And I grew up eating a lot of Mexican food, like really good Mexican food. And part of my
Real
breakfast,
Mexican food.
yeah, real authentic, just delicious. I could eat it every single day. But part of my breakfast had always been like either like a breakfast burrito, breakfast tacos. But I don't eat the grains anymore. So I would just make scrambled eggs with cheese and beans, like either refried beans, I mean, just baked beans, just beans. So I'll
Yeah,
have eggs and beans, and sometimes I'll have like cabbage with it, or yeah, it's delicious. And sometimes I'll do it like the cabbage, like you do it. I'll saute it with onions and butter, and it's just delicious.
it's so good. Listen,
It's so,
but
so good.
back to the beans and the eggs.
Yeah.
You know, I got to thinking about that, and I said, and I tell a lot of people, and I know you do too, that it's best to break your fast with some kind of protein.
Yeah.
You don't want to break your fast with a sweet roll or something like that, but break it with protein. Well, if you have eggs and beans, then you're getting protein from the animal world and you're getting protein from the vegetable world. It's like a double knock it out of the park thing, you know?
And I think that's why I feel so good is I'm not like a crazy protein pusher. Um, but I get plenty of protein. And I would say I eat like 70% plants. I do eat meat, but it's just not like I don't love it and crave it like I do like beans and hummus and other plant forms of protein. But I do get plenty of protein. So anybody who's worried, don't worry. I'm good.
You lost me at hummus.
You have you ever made your own hummus?
No, and I don't ever intend to.
Uh, I think you would like it. I think you must have just had bad hummus somewhere.
Vicky loves it. She
Ah,
loves it. And of course she loves guacamole dip and oh
me
gosh.
too.
She'll just take avocados and eat avocados,
Me too.
by itself and it's
Yeah,
great.
my brother has a giant avocado tree. So does my mom, actually. They have two different varieties of avocado. So we get avocado all the time. Like,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, I love it. They're
Well,
expensive too, so it's
let
nice to know somebody that has a tree.
let me ask you, is this your lifestyle for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I can't even imagine not fasting. When I had COVID, I didn't get COVID for like 3 years. For some reason, I just, I kept myself pretty healthy and was lucky enough to avoid it. We did get COVID, not this Christmas, but the Christmas before. And I felt best fasting while I was sick. I was still in the backyard, like doing gardening. And luckily, I didn't have a bad case, but I fast when I'm sick. I fast when I'm sad. It's my everyday. I can't even imagine not doing it.
Well,
I can't.
think about this.
Okay.
The old wives' tale, but I don't consider it a wives' tale. I consider it sound advice. Starve a cold, feed a fever.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, COVID is just a cold. It's a
Mm-hmm.
form of a cold. And if you
Yeah.
starve it, guess what? That's the best thing you could do for it, you know?
Yeah. I felt totally fine fasting while I had COVID. I mean, I've been sick since then. Like I had like a little stomach virus and I felt like I needed to eat then, like really bland food. But I feel like when you become a seasoned faster, you're able to really listen to your body and
Yeah.
know what it needs. And I never felt like that before when I was eating all day long. Like I
Yes.
never knew. And I was always tired. I had no idea it was a constant insulin spike that was, you know, killing my body.
What is the biggest mistake that people make when they begin intermittent fasting?
Gosh, there's a few. I think the biggest mistake is thinking that the clean fast isn't that big of a deal. Like I know some people
Yeah.
think that they could put a little bit of they can drink a little bit of bone broth or they could put a
Mm.
little bit of apple cider in water, but it really makes a huge difference. Soon as you have an insulin response, your body stops burning your fat. And the
And,
goal is
and it
our
starts
goal is
pulling
to to burn our own fat, to use our ketones,
you.
and it makes a difference. I know it makes a difference. I can feel it in my body. I know when I've accidentally broken a fast.
Mhm.
My
It's
body lets me know.
I do that too. I can tell. Uh, so
There's actually one more mistake that I think people make is they think they're fasting and then when they're feasting, they're not really feasting. They're not eating enough food. They're still stuck in that diet mentality.
mm,
Um, and if you don't eat enough food, you're going to either binge or your metabolism is going to slow down. So you really have to fast, feast, repeat.
Jen knows what she's talking about.
She does. She's a smart cookie.
Yep, she is. She is. Uh, what role does nutrition and the quality of food play during your eating windows to give you
Oh,
the
it's
to give you the maximum benefits of fasting?
it's huge. If you don't eat the nutrients your body needs, you are going to have binge behaviors or you're just going to feel terrible. Like you can't out fast bad nutrition.
Oh, say that
And
again.
you can't out fast bad nutrition. Like you really need to, if you're brand new, you need to work on just nailing the clean fast without changing your diet. But as you become more comfortable and more seasoned, you're going to start realizing the foods that make you feel good and then the foods that make you feel terrible.
And we can't. I try to tell people this, and it's hard for them to hear it, but I know you agree. We just cannot get the nutrition we need from something out of a box with a barcode on it.
So it's so true. So
All
true.
all of the processed foods, they're not really foods. They're industrial products,
Yeah.
and
It's
it's hard for people to hear that, isn't it?
It is, yeah, because we come from, at least I come from a generation where we microwaved everything. Like
Oh,
all the diets I ever did, I did Jenny Craig, I did Weight Watchers. Some of the food wasn't even didn't have to even be refrigerated. Like how disgusting is that? What kind of toxic chemicals are in that food that you don't even, it's chicken in a box that you heat up, but it didn't need to be refrigerated. I mean, that's scary. And I didn't think anything of it. Like back then, I was young. I didn't know.
yeah. I tell people all the time, years and years ago, Mr. Atkins, Dr. Atkins, he came
Hmm.
out with the Atkins diet,
Hmm.
and I did it and lost like 30 pounds or something on it. Of course, I yo-yoed back when I didn't do the diet after that. But here's the thing. When he started that diet, he never envisioned that after his death, somebody would take that company and turn it into a corporation that puts out products that have
Yeah.
all of this junk in them.
Yeah, I agree. I did the Atkins diet too. And if you read his books, like you said, that was not his intention.
No,
His
no,
intention wasn't for us to eat all this processed crap.
no, no.
Real food
So
was,
the quality of the food, what you're saying is the quality of the food is just as important as when you eat that food.
yeah, it's
And
true.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. So, what is your favorite non-scale victory?
Um, I I think my favorite non-scale victory is I can just go into my closet and pull anything out, whether it's spring, summer, winter, all of my clothes fit. And in the past, that was a little sketchy.
Yep,
Summer would come and I'd be like, ooh, I don't have anything that actually fits.
yep.
You know, I'd have
I'm,
to do like a crash diet to lose 10 pounds to fit into things. And that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, sometimes my clothes get a little bit snug, but I know what to do
yeah,
to get them to be comfortable again.
yeah.
So it's a good feeling to be able to shop in your own closet.
I'm so thankful that I've got a my forever girlfriend, Vicky. She refused to throw away my clothes from when we first got married and stuff, and now I'm back into them, and
Yeah.
it's just so
She,
wonderful.
she knew.
Yep, she knew.
Women are smart.
Yes, they are. I
As are
can't, I cannot argue with that.
men. You better not.
I won't. So, what is your what is your long-term goal?
Um, I just want to feel good. I want to be able to work with the preschoolers. I'm still running with them. A few years back, before I found IF, I had the hardest time getting up and down. You know, when you're a preschool teacher, you're sitting on the ground a lot. You're sitting and reading books and building with blocks and helping them negotiate. So getting down was easy. Getting back up was a challenge.
Yep.
I was a lot slower. I didn't have the energy. I don't even think, like, I'm a really positive person. And I think there were even days where I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I'm getting too old. I'm not getting too old. I just wasn't healthy. And I want to feel good. I want to be able to run and climb, chase, do all the things that I can do with these kids, be part of an active part of their life. And I
And
want to be able to walk my dogs and keep up with my really fit husband.
yeah, and you need to be around so you can keep him straight.
Yes, that's true.
I
So
mean, who
true.
else is going to help him pick out his latest Jeep?
That's true. That's true. He loves that Jeep.
So, give me, as we close this thing out today, give me your best piece of advice for someone who's just wanting to get started in intermittent fasting And maybe they've read Jen's book, and maybe they've watched some YouTube videos by Dr. Fung or something like that. But they just need something from somebody who's been there.
I would say that was going to be my advice was, read the books because you really have to understand the science. You really do have to understand what's happening in your body. But also listen to the podcast. There's so many great podcasts. There's so many great stories of success, people who it's taken a year for them to lose weight, or they've lost weight and then they fell off the wagon, which we don't like to say it's a wagon, but sometimes people, for whatever reasons in life, have stopped and have come back. There's so many people from so many different walks of life that when you listen to the stories, somebody's going to resonate with you. Join the communities. Make sure the communities you join follow the clean fast, though. Otherwise, you're going to get very conflicting information and people are arguing. And just join the clean fasting communities, positive people. I love our communities. They're just like, I've made friends from our communities.
Yes. And speaking of communities,
Mm.
put in a plug for your Facebook group now.
My group is Clean Fasting Jalene, and I started it because I'm sure my friends who don't fast were getting really tired of all my Facebook posts because I cannot stop talking about it. Like, I want to tell everybody when I'm in the gym, I want to tell people. I don't, unless they ask. But so I started the group because I wanted people to have a place where they could come and we could talk about fasting. We focus a lot in my group on menopause and hormones, but everybody's welcome. Like everybody, there's men in my group too. They're not as active as all of us menopausal women.
It's a great little group, and it was one of the first ones that I joined, and I thank you for being there. I thank you for being my friend. I really do treasure our friendship, and I'm going to wind this thing down and
thank you.
Tell everybody bye-bye.
Bye. See you next time, friends.
If you need more information on fasting and want to join a group of people who embrace this lifestyle, let us recommend that you go to Facebook and search for Intermittent Fasting for the Win, and also search for Clean Fasting Jalene. Either of these groups will help you along the way. We also recommend that you read Jen Stevens' books, Delay, Don't Deny, and Fast, Feast, Repeat. Both of these books will give you valuable information to help you in your intermittent fasting journey.